Mm, 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 mm. Far over the misty mountains cold, to dungeons deep and caverns old, we must away ere break of day, to find our long forgotten gold. The pines were roaring on the height, the winds were moaning in the night. The fire was red, it flaming spread, the trees like torches blaze with light.
Good evening, UN Spacey Wolf Squadron. This is your Wolf Commander Wolf 10. I'm your werewolf. Can we have a round of applause to Final Fantasy Final 12 for that serenade?
Yes. Woo! I enjoyed that. Fantastic, Final. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yes, fantastic.
Much like when we forced Leia to do her best Galadriel impression, Final took it upon himself to want to serenade to us for a special night, especially when we're 2 nights away from Thanksgiving. Final, that was magical.
Thank you.
Now, now I almost twisted his arm into try to do a brilliant rendition of Bilbo's opening monologue for the Hobbit itself, and I opted to do that myself. But you know what? Since he was so adamant on singing Misty Mountains, I felt I wanted to tribute that opening to him. Now, mind you, there's a little jank in that opening because that was almost last minute put together. But that's as best I could do. And I said, when it happened, when I got it done, I was like, you know what, it's fucking done at this point. I'm still practicing on my editing skills, guys. If only I could put as much work as Final could. Well, there's no if, there will be an always striving to put as much work Final does. As with everybody else. Now, speaking of which, we have our two ladies starting with the lovely Leia Val, Leia Plus Size.
Good evening, all. This is Lady Plus Size, and getting tongue tied. Final's voice has me fluttered. This is Leia Plus Size, your lovely Lady of Valor, and
She likes you.
Oh my God!
Jeez.
Let me start again.
I'm looking at you with disapproval, Wolf.
I was imagining you turning bright red.
Don't do that. Don't embarrass him. He's under the great vocal
Hot
performance
for
he just gave us.
teacher. Hot for teacher. Kidding, kidding,
Yes,
kidding.
don't do-
Go on, Leia.
Stop.
Do your
Oh my
thing. Do
God.
your thing, Leia.
I just want to welcome everyone. I want to welcome everyone to our discussion of the Hobbit Trilogy. Now, I myself have some wonderful things to say about it, but I will also tell you, while in the end it was sort of a letdown for me, but we will get to that a little later. But until then, we're going to go through it and enjoy this discussion.
The Hummers of Riders,
But there
Hummer
are some high
Marty.
points, and I will focus on that.
The
Hello.
Hummers of Riders, Hummer Marty, dang it.
Hello.
And that's all she
I'm
can
Humble
muster
Marty.
tonight.
I write stuff.
Okay. She
I also have
surprises
a
everyone.
I also have a story out on Royal Road.
Yes. She submitted a story, guys. Give her a round of applause.
Yay.
All
Is it
right.
wait. Speaking of which, is it a contest?
Oh,
Do you
humble.
win a prize? Do you get
No, it's
recognized?
just a story to celebrate the holidays. If you like basically a modern art student, an old spinster, and a cat girl going up against an army of consignatus in a tiny apartment, that's basically all it is.
I want
Just
to
in
read
time for
that
Wow.
Turkey
Okay.
Day.
story. I want to
Yes.
read that story. This is our writer team, ladies and gentlemen. We got one furry. We got a knight in white armor. We got a lady of valor. We have the Hound of South in the Bear North, and we got this one writer sitting in the corner that just comes up with these interesting ideas. That's why
I do
she's a
my best.
that's why she's a tinkerer of our group, and by tinkerer I mean engineer. But now that I mentioned the white armor guy, the Warrior of Light, Final Fantasy Fan 012.
Greetings to Viewers and fellow Final Fantasy fans. This is Final Fantasy Fan 12, and welcome back to another livestream of the UN Spacey Wolf Squadron. And today we are discussing another movie trilogy on the show. This time discussing Peter Jackson's The Hobbit Trilogy. Now we have discussed about the Lord of the Rings trilogy about 5 months ago. Yeah, 5 months ago. And now we're covering the prequel trilogy to the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And why was it 3 movies instead of just being one book? A medium-sized book, mind you? Well, let's just say there were 2 separate trends going on.
Mhm.
Briefly,
That
we'll
was
we'll
right. This.
we'll get into that briefly. Uh, let's get the one thing that's common knowledge pretty much. Peter Jackson did not want to tackle the Hobbit at
Mm.
I
all.
agree. Yeah.
He was moving on
Mm.
to other things. At this point, I think he was already had done King Kong. I don't know what he was doing after King Kong,
Yeah, I
other than the
forgot what other
Hobbit. I know
another
he was doing
director.
Guillermo
Go
del
ahead, Will.
Toro. What was slated to direct it, and he was all in, all on board. And to this day, I am curious as to what the hell Guillermo del Toro was gonna do with the Hobbit. Because I know that if he was directing it, the Hobbit would look radically different from the Lord of the Rings. Especially if it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
one movie too. Like you just know that at some point somebody gonna have those swirly things that he always like to put on his characters whenever time he works on things. You know some of the some of the creatures in Middle Earth are gonna look twisted, not dark, but just twisted.
He would have
Yet
had fun with those spiders.
yet cuddly. Oh yeah, he'll have fun with the spiders too. The spiders will
He would
definitely
have
look
fun.
twisted and dark as shit, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he'll make them look absolutely more scarier than what they already look like in the final product for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I know
Yes, for
his
sure.
I know his elves gonna look alien as fuck, dude. Like I know for a fucking fact. His L's were going, man. If you saw, like, bruh, Peter Jackson's L's, we know what Peter Jackson's L's look like. But
Yeah.
what? Do you know what Guillermo del Toro's L's look like?
Yes. They went through hours of practical effects makeup
Yeah.
in the trailer van.
Oh my goodness, and they would look fucking bug-eyed as all shit, dude. Like, to give you a quick example, Prince Nuwala and Nuwala from Hellboy and the Golden Army. They look like them motherfuckers. Pale as shit, with some scary looking eyes. I mean, can you imagine Legolas looking like that?
Oh no!
I mean,
No!
I mean, he would look. He would look. No, the thing is, Leia, he would not look evil like Nuwada would look like. I'm just saying he would look alien. The thing is, he would look alien.
Mhm.
No,
Can't
you
even
don't
imagine.
look at Toro,
Can't
he
even
might
imagine the
take-
same thing with them. With the Elrond and Galadriel in here.
Yes.
For reals, like bruh, he would turn the Hobbit into the Wrecking Bass version of the live action Lord of the Rings animated movie.
He probably
Yeah,
would
he'd
have.
actually probably take inspiration from the animated Hobbit movie.
No,
and make it
no,
like that.
I'm saying he would. Before we had the trilogy, we had the Ralph Bakshi animated movie, right?
Yeah,
Yes, I
which
remember
was one
seeing that.
movie.
It was
Yes, it was
definitely
one
one
film.
movie.
Yes.
But then later on, we got the Hobbit made by the Wrecking Bass animation side of things.
I saw that as well. Yes, I remember
If
the news.
if Del Toro directed the Hobbit, we would have that shit happen to us like in the animated section of Lord of the Rings.
You could imagine what he would have done with the goblins.
They would look wildly different.
Mhm.
Completely fucking different than Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. Yet somehow they're supposed to be the same.
Mhm.
That's how weird. I'm just saying, like, part of me,
Hello. Thank you for coming.
truth be told, part of me wished that Guillermo del Toro directed it. I was like, I would not mind the Del Toro craziness at all.
I
I'm
mean,
like,
totally. Yeah, it doesn't. Even though we're about to be discussing Battle of the, or no, not Battle of the Five Armies, Unexpected Journey. That was the first one, because
yeah,
that's the first chapter in the Hobbit.
Mhm.
It was supposed
Yes.
to be like more sillier in tone because the Hobbit is intentionally made to be a children's book and a fairy tale actually because Tolkien written this with his children in mind. That's why it has a fairy tale aspect
hmm
to it.
I'm just saying,
Correct.
I would not have mind. I would not have mind Tolkien,
Well, what happened was,
just Tolkien, but Del
um,
Toro directing this movie. But no, we
he started. He started. I didn't mean to interrupt you. He started directing it, but the old story, he and the studio clashed, and the studio did
hmm
Oh
not like
yeah.
what he was doing. So Del Toro said, "If you don't let me do what I want to do, I walk." And they say, "Fine, we'll get Peter back in." That's what happened because the films had to do some reshoots over what Del Toro was doing. He had started, it was going, but they were clashing. And Del
Mm-hmm.
Toro said, "All right, you're trying to control me, so I'm going to walk." And that's what happened. That's why we didn't get Wolf. If only we could have saw the
Yeah.
pieces that he
And funny enough, this is
had
actually
started with.
meant to be 2 movies instead of 3 actually, because it was supposed to be one story, but then the other film was about to come in, which is supposed to be a bridge between this one and Fellowship of the Ring. But then this became 3 books because of the success of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and then that's how we ended up with 3 movies. And actually, that's one of them. Because another reason is because at that time there was a really huge what's the word I'm looking for? Insurgents, if that's the right word for it. There was already a huge booming for movie adaptations from other books. Like Harry Potter was just about to be close to wrapping up, and I think the Hunger Games was about to be midway through, because I think it was at its second movie before they're about to get to the final film, which that was also split into two parts because of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows that was split into two films. And
The the book trilogy or the book adaptation boom was in full swing completely
mm-hmm,
during the Hobbit's time in the light.
mm-hmm,
Like
I
once the Hobbit trilogy was in motion, there was a lot of book adaptations already already been out there. We had even ones that were like failures, like I Am Number Four, uh Push. What's
I
another one?
think wait no Maze I think Maze Runner, yeah, Maze Runner was just about to be started, even though that wasn't until a little later.
Yep, we got Maze Runner, of course. Of course, Hunger
Divergent
Games
I
was,
think just started.
yeah,
Mhm.
Divergent.
Was Game of Thrones on television? Was Game of Thrones on television at that time? You have to let me know since I
Yep.
didn't follow it.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I
Okay,
think
there's
it.
another one.
Yeah, because I think it came on television since 2012, which was when Battle of the Five Armies came out.
Okay. Oh, okay. I believe you guys are right. I believe, like we all know, before we got the MCU, we had the world of adaptation of fantasy novels were the dominant franchises in the box office. And I think
Mm,
once the Lord of the Rings won that Oscar for Best Picture, you know how studios are. They were like, okay, we got to come out and get our own. Even though Harry Potter was still going on, it's still having its run. Like Final said, it was coming down to its last couple of movies. The fantasy or young adult novels were still very much the heavy franchise in the theaters at times. So to remind people that the MCU was not always the dominant. Those were the dominant movies that movie studios were trying to get out, whether it be
mm,
on cable or television or film. They all wanted their own adaptation of A Lord of the Rings. So yeah,
yeah,
you're right.
yeah, and then and then there's the other trend that I mentioned earlier, is that not only was there the insurgence of the booming of book to film movies, but rather another thing that Schooner actually mentioned this when we were talking about Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, and it's specifically with the events of when superheroes were getting origin stories. And yes, this was when during the time when the MCU was just beginning with Iron Man and eventually the Hulk, because it came out
Mm-hmm.
since 2008, which was when the first Iron Man film came out. And then but flashback to 2005, we had Batman Begins, which was supposed to
Mm-hmm.
be a prequel to the Tim Burton Batman films because it was an X-Men First Class kind of situation because it faced that too, but then became its own thing. And then and it was because of the insurgents and the still going on what was still going on at that time of the Star Wars prequel trilogy. That's why we have the rise of the prequels at this time.
Yeah, you're correct. Yeah, absolutely. So I have to remind people, different trends change and different. Oh, we're a leader, our fearless leader. Oh well, he'll be back. He
Yeah.
disappeared. You're right, Final. So that I was just what we're trying to prove is that there are always different trends in as far as pop culture is concerned. Is what I'm trying to say. Like right now, it's the comic book thing, but before that, as you just said, we had adaptations of very popular novels, and Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter were being filmed around that time. But now Hobbit is really what I'm trying to focus on here. But I just brought up Lord of the Rings because I do think when the Lord of the Rings got the Oscar for Best Picture, for before that, studios weren't thinking that much about fantasy. But that's unfortunately that's how they think. And then after the massive success of that, they put this prequel into works as well. So at the time the Hobbit came out, the boom of fantasy was still alive at the box office. I think it was still much there.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just yeah, because this whole trilogy, it's going to be referencing Lord of the Rings a lot because there are going to be a lot of moments that are in there that just go, because Lord of the Rings did this. I I mean, it would make sense, especially because a lot of Tolkien fans would know is that The Hobbit was written first before Lord of the Rings.
Right. So, for instance, Legolas, for all you out there, is not in The Hobbit, but in the movie adaptation, they felt it made. I didn't mind him in it because that kind of does make a little sense.
Yeah.
You can't put him in there. He's not in The Hobbit. He's not the elf in The Hobbit.
Yeah, because he wasn't
The emphasis
created
really
at that time. Because
right.
I mentioned because The Hobbit was written first before Lord of the Rings, and he wasn't even made at the time that it was even written. Maybe he was off somewhere else, or maybe he was just about to be. Maybe he wasn't even born yet during The Hobbit, because he was
Right.
never there. Because a lot of the characters from the Lord of the Rings that are in there, not just Legolas, but even Saruman and Galadriel in The Unexpected Journey, they made their appearance in there just for fan service for people who've seen the Lord of the Rings trilogy. This is what Legolas has done, and this is basically the remaining two films, the latter two films, is where Legolas would rise to prominence in both of these films, especially for the final film where he would have a one final moment with his father, Thranduil, who is actually played. Who's actually played by
Lee Pace.
Lee Pace.
Wonderfully played by Lee Pace, but I'll get into that when we get to The Hobbit. Wonderfully played by Lee Pace. I like him as an actor. But go on, finally. I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, okay, because I know I have the casting list up and I should find it, but yeah, it is Lee Pace. Wait, is it Lee Pace or was he
Lee Pace.
Was it Lee Pace or did he play Elrond?
No, Elrond was Hugo Weaving.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. And
I did not like that moment either, but I'll get into that a little later. I'm a little picky because I read the book, and in the book, it's a little bit different than what you see on screen. But I'll get into that.
Oh yeah, certainly a lot different.
Yes,
especially with a lot of the minor characters in the book are actually given full-blown character arcs in all three films, to even going so far as to introducing two new characters in this movie that are not anywhere to be found in The Hobbit, or even Lord of the Rings, or even the Silmarillion for the matter.
Right. Exactly. And one that wasn't needed, but we will get to it when we get to Desolation of Smaug. But there's one that was simply created for the movie.
But yeah, not just one, but two. There are two of them.
It's funny that such a thing happened because that caused one star to actually get recognized, and now she's having a sort of a balanced movie career.
None against nobody. Just figured that the character this person played was not necessary to the story. But when we get to that, I will give my explanation. And other things as well. There's some good things, and there's some things. Now I probably am a little more stickler because I read The Hobbit. So there's some things that were wonderfully done, and there's some things I did not agree with. But like I said, we'll get to it and go through it.
Welcome Hoff for the first time, or have you been lurking with us and haven't said anything until now? But anybody who else is also with us, please say hello to Half and welcome him. I believe he's new.
Hello, Half. I've never met you, but welcome.
And I agree. Desolation Small is technically the best.
Welcome here.
Though the extended versions of Unexpected Journey is superior to its original theatrical run. There's a lot of things that they put in that was needed and necessary.
And this is, because there are a lot of stuff that's in there that's supposed to be necessary for all three films. A lot of them are cut out, but yet are put into the extended cut of the movie, which even were for certain moments in when we get to Battle of the Five Armies, which we will get there.
All right, Humble, what are you fighting?
Me?
Somebody's shuffling
Actually,
something.
I thought that was you,
oh,
Wolf.
No.
Oh,
Wasn't me.
If
no,
you heard
I
some
don't have
scruffing, that's me
anything
stroking my
on.
beard. I know somebody was fighting something.
it was not
Listen,
me.
Oh,
she probably might
I
be
was
just
probably
making
getting
herself
my.
comfortable.
I was probably just, yeah, it's just that.
Okay.
It's
Because I
usually
know
Hubble
that's.
that makes
Because
weird
I know that
weird
sound.
noises when
That's
she
always a sound of
moves.
a rustling of a bed. I know that's. Yeah, I know that's a
Oh,
sound of a rustling
yeah.
bed. That's the sign of someone making themselves comfortable. Because I know that sound.
Hmm.
Anyway,
Anyways, my dear Frodo, you asked me once if I had told you everything there was to know about my adventures. Well, I can honestly say I have told you the truth. I may not have told you all of it. I am old now, Frodo. I'm not the same hobbit as I once was. I think it's time for you to know what really happened. It began long ago in a land far away to the east, like the like of which you will not find in the world today. There was a city of Dale, its markets known far and wide, full of the bounties of vine and vale, peaceful and prosperous. For this city lay before the doors of the greatest kingdom on Middle Earth, Erebor, stronghold of Thror, king under the mountain, and mightiest of the dwarf lords. Thror ruled with utter surety, never doubting his house would endure, for his line lay secure in the lives of his son and grandson. Ah, Frodo, Erebor, built deep within the mountain itself, the beauty of this fortress city was legend. Its wealth lay in the earth, in precious gems hewn from rock and great seams of gold running like rivers through stone. The skill of the dwarfs was unequaled, fashioning objects of great beauty out of diamond, emerald, ruby, and sapphire. Ever they delved deep, down in the dark, and that is where they found it. The heart of the mountain, the Arkenstone. Thor named it the king's jewel. He took it as a sign that his right to rule was divine. All would pay homage to him, even the great elven king, Threnwheel. But the years of peace and plenty were not to last. Slowly the days turned sour, and the watchful nights closed in. Thor's love of gold had grown too fierce. A sickness had begun to grow within him. It was a sickness of the mind, and where sickness thrives, bad things will follow. The first they heard was a noise like a hurricane coming down the north. The pines in the mountain creaked and cracked in the hot, dry wind. It was a fire drake from the north. Smog had come. Such wanton death was dealt that day, but the city of men was nothing to Smaug. His eye was set on another prize. For dragons covet gold with a dark and fierce desire. Erebor is lost, for a dragon will guard his plunder as long as he lives. Thranduil will not risk the lives of his kin against the wrath of the dragon. No help came for the elves from the elves that day, or any day since. Robbed of their homeland, the dwarves of Erebor wandered the wilderness, a once mighty people brought low. The young dwarf prince took work where he could find it, labor in the villages of men, but always he remembers the mountain smoke beneath the beneath the moon. The trees like torches blazing bright, for he had seen dragonfire in the sky and the sea turned to ash. He never forgave, and he never forgot. Spoken and narrated by the great Martin Freeman, who plays Bilbo. Now, is that for me?
I'm sorry, I was applauding. Yes, yes, Wolf. I was applauding your monologue. Very good. I was showing my
I've been brushing up
appreciation.
on my voice acting since then. But yes, thank you so much.
Yes.
I really liked Martin Freeman. I was gonna call him Martin Sheen. Jesus Christ, there's too many there's too many actors named Martin working up to date. You got Martin Sheen, you got Martin Freeman. Who's another Martin?
Yes.
Not George R. R.
um,
Martin. That's a writer.
there's another one. Crap.
I
George
mean,
I
there's
can't think of it. No, he
I
said no
mean, like,
mention of writer.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of Martins out there acting right now. And Jesus Christ, you're
Martin
gonna get
Short. Martin Short.
Martin Short. There's another one.
Martin
Just
the
say
human?
what I'm saying is
Martin Lawrence.
there you go. But I digress. I like Martin Freeman as strange enough. I like Martin Freeman as Bilbo. It's kind of a strange thing to cast somebody that young to play as Bilbo. I mean, he's relatively young for the character himself. We don't really have a really stat accuracy to how old hobbits get. Did he? Does he outclass Ian Holm? Hell no.
No. He is in there, though, Ian Holm.
Yeah, he does have a cameo before
Yeah.
his passing, of course. Unfortunate, rest his soul.
Yeah.
And man, whenever time I saw Ian Holm as Bilbo again, I wept. I wept internally. But to hear his voice again narrating that really that lulled me into a sense of gentile. I was a kid on a mother's lap when he told the story of Erebor. Speaking of which, how did you guys like Martin Sheen as Bilbo?
Martin
Starting with you.
Freeman.
Martin Freeman. Not Martin Sheen.
See, see my point. See my point. See my point. Let's start with you, Final. Martin Freeman as Bilbo. How'd you take him?
I thought he was pretty good.
I asked Final, damn it.
I mean, she already expressed the thoughts, but not bad.
My bad.
You had sugar, didn't you, Humble? Or is it coffee today?
Sugar.
I was coffee today.
I mean,
you wouldn't.
knowing Martin Freeman as he was on that really overrated show, BBC show Sherlock, where he was Dr. Watson. He does a pretty good job as a younger Bilbo.
Go ahead, Humble.
Considering the one Hobbit I have the most recollection with was the animated series, I think he did pretty good in capturing the spirit of the character.
So your only exposure was the animated Wrecking Bass.
Yeah.
And not the Lord of the Rings itself. Even though he was brief, he had a really prominent role in the Lord of the Rings.
No, I'd seen the Lord of the Rings too.
Okay, just making sure.
Oh wait, yeah, funny I mentioned Sherlock because there's a certain other actor that he did work with that's in there, but we'll get to that when we get to Desolation of Smaug.
Right.
Yes, right.
So, Leia, what was your take on Martin Freeman as Bilbo?
Martin Freeman as Bilbo, I from reading the book The Hobbit, hobbits age pretty, they don't live as long as elves, but they get pretty up there. I forgot exactly how old he was in Hobbit years in this film, but I thought, I'll say this: Martin Freeman in The Hobbit, excellent. Martin Freeman in MCU, no. I much take him in this.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was in there.
Yeah. Civil War, Black, no, he was not that guy. I didn't believe he was in Black Panther. I'm like, oh my God.
We all know why he was there.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, because he was Dr. Watson in Sherlock.
No, he was Bilbo.
Oh.
Yeah.
Remember the Hobbit was still going even with the MCU going.
Yeah,
oh yeah, that's right.
The MCU was just it was in its infancy, but
when Civil War showed up, this came after the Desolation of Smaug.
Yeah, and I saw him like, oh, I don't believe him in that role.
The reason why I say this because immediately when Civil War showed up and he showed up, I said, "Oh, it's Bilbo." I remember myself saying that in my mind.
You weren't the only one.
So he wasn't there because of Sherlock. He was there because of the Hobbit.
Right.
And this was the growing trend of them snatching up actors because actor played in this popular movie that people seem to like a lot.
You have a lot of MCU actors in this trilogy. There are a few. Yes, absolutely. There are a few. But I thought he did a good job. I can't complain about his casting. I thought he did a good
Mm.
job as young Bilbo.
So
Oh, there's even a Doctor Who actor in there.
we'll
Sylvester
get
McCoy. Yeah,
uh,
sorry. Yeah, Sylvester
Yes.
McCoy, the Seventh Doctor, as
Yes.
Radagast the Brown.
Yes. And
AKA one of my favorites.
my favorite character too. I recognized him as soon as I saw him. I said, "Yay, that's one of the doctors from Doctor Who," and I
No, I
liked
wouldn't know because
Radagast.
I don't watch Doctor Who.
It's okay, but for those that do watch Doctor Who and know the Doctor Who mythology, I recognized him when I saw him. And I said I was happy to see him again because about this time this movie came out, Doctor Who was getting close to the 50th anniversary, and everybody was looking back on past Doctors, and the
Mm-hmm.
BBC America was running some of their past episodes, and they ran his
Stay
run,
on target.
just giving you a little back info.
Now, one thing I want to mention too, since we also brought the Star Wars prequels, which, funny enough, the Hobbit trilogy has also went through the same thing that the prequel trilogy did, which is cosmetic change, a few cosmetic changes here and
Mm-hmm.
there.
Yeah.
So going to the doors of Erebor, yes, they're just about the same height as Gimli, but they look almost vastly different from Gimli.
Mm-hmm.
They're far more detailed than Gimli ever was in
Mm-hmm.
the Lord of the Rings. Like, if you put him next to any of the doors, especially our current doors that we follow throughout the whole trilogy, he yes, he's a dwarf, but he's vastly different in design in comparison to these guys.
Mm-hmm. And some of them look a little bit more human than the rest of them. A lot of them look dwarvish, but yet there's one or two of them that look almost too human to be dwarves.
Feely and Keely. You're talking about Feely and Keely.
Them, but also one of them, Thorin,
Oh,
played
right.
by Richard Armitage, if I'm saying his last name right.
Yeah, he
AKA
was Thorin.
Trevor Belmont in the Castlevania series that came out shy of a few years ago. Have already concluded.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Thor was my favorite out of all the dwarves. Sure, me and a former friend of mine used to fuck around and talk about which dwarf we will bang, and I said Feely and Keely. She's like, "You cannot have Keely." Yes, I can. No, you can't. Yes, I can.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
and he acts a little different in the movies than he's supposed to be in the books, because in the movies he
Yes.
arrives a lot late. When in the book he arrives. Remember the scene in the first film where all the dwarves suddenly came in and they all just fell down, and then Bilbo sees Gandalf,
Yeah,
and
Thorn's supposed to be among them.
yeah, he he was supposed to be among them, but here he arrives fashionably late, and he's
They're
supposed to play up with the loner, with the stoic hero type character. I guess supposed to be a stand-in for Aragorn when he really plays with them Boromir, more so because another character plays with them Aragorn story in the second movie, which we'll get there.
Hmm.
And
But I get what you're saying. Final, I do get that vibe that they molded him more like an Aragornish kind of way, the way he really
mhm,
is in the books.
yeah, I mean, yeah, he still has his. Yeah, there's still one thing that's so present is his hatred towards the elves because of what happened when their home was taken from them. But
Yes.
yet, but he doesn't. But in the books, he doesn't just go on being more so of a brooder.
Right, right. That was the that I noticed that change too. That it wasn't necessary to make him a brooder. They didn't have to go so heavy with that because he's not that way in the novel.
I
Mm-hmm.
like it. Is
Of
it
course
is
you
an
do,
improvement?
Wolf.
No, it's not really an improvement. But
Mhm.
when I first saw him and I first saw his profile pop up, especially in the trailer, the Unexpected Journey trailer, I was It was just that one shot of him turning around to meet Gandalf's gaze really sold me on Unexpected Journey. Which, funny enough, that was the only movie that I did not see in theaters. You could pretty much say that when I went on my journey through the Hobbit trilogy, it was a reverse of the prequel trilogy in a way. In the case of in the case of the prequel trilogy, the Attack of the Clones was the only movie I did not see in theaters. Re- Revenge of the Sith, I had the pleasure of seeing in theaters until later. While I was still in the theater when it should have been out of theaters by then, or at least I assumed it would be. You feel me? Y'all follow me so far?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes. It was way with a lot of people.
Yeah, Revenge of the Sith was almost missed. Whereas in the Hobbit trilogy, the only one I missed was Unexpected Journey because, well, didn't have no money and couldn't find nobody to come with me to see that one. Now, Destination Small, I had the pleasure of seeing it with my then wife, and we both saw the third movie, which we'll be getting to that one. And my criticism of that movie, Jesus Christ, I you know I know I criticize the people who criticize the Return of the King for the quote unquote multiple endings, which technically it's one full ass ending, truth be told. But
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ, this one felt like it had the Battle of Five Armies really felt like it had two endings stitched together.
Yes.
I'm gonna say that right now. I'm gonna say that right now. That's what it felt like to me. But we'll get there when we get there.
Mm-hmm.
One one criticism I will point out, which we can explain in detail as we go through each movie. Some fight scenes go on far too long,
Mm-hmm.
or or
Yes.
a better description, they feel too long.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like
And
Peter Jackson.
that's what
I
makes
got
the Hobbit trilogy just so sorry to cut into Wolf. That's what
go on.
makes one of them that makes the Hobbit trilogy so long. The fight scenes, yeah, the fight scenes feel a bit long. And I've already mentioned that a lot of the minor characters from the book are given full blown arcs in this
Right.
movie, in this trilogy.
Ooh,
Mm-hmm. A
And
lot of
that probably cut into their thing.
Given
yeah,
the
and
fact that
I've already mentioned Radagast, he's much of a minor character in the book, but he's already pretty prevalent throughout the entire trilogy.
hmm
yes. You're not the only one, Wolf. Many people said the fight scenes seem to go on forever, just ever and ever, more
I
than
was
they
like,
should have been.
Jesus Christ, Peter, what the heck? What? Like, did did you just fall off on something? I'm like,
I
damn,
I,
dude.
I
Maybe
think this
because
time
one of the
Peter was
DPG
under the
power up.
demands of the studio. I think the problem and why, and like I said, we'll get
I'm
into
not
it
gonna throw
later.
that excuse on him. Hell to the no.
The
Mm-mm.
studio, the studio, the studio did have more control over this trilogy than Lord of the Rings.
Bullshit.
It is
Not on the
definitely
fight
that.
scenes.
They did it.
Not on the
Not
fight
a fight
scene.
scene, but
No, I'm
they,
sure I'm
remember.
sure he will be. I am definitely sure. I don't mean to be a stickler towards you, Lay, but I'm pretty fucking sure he had control over them damn fight scenes. I'll pinpoint to you what was definitely what felt definitely studio meddling.
All right.
But the fight scenes was I highly doubt it was all them. Like that
Mm,
he had control. I don't I have my doubts that anybody will walk up on that damn up in that damn production and tell Peter you need to make this fight scene a lot longer. Oh,
I
you need to make
admire.
this.
Oh, sorry.
Go on, humble. Let
I
loose.
admire their stamina. Real fights usually take on like 2 to 3 minutes tops.
hmm What would you say about the fight scenes, Leia? Now I got you started. Actually, going back to you.
I have heard, and I still believe that the reason they seemed longer is I do think there was a little bit of the studio interfering, probably. This is true. They said, "Look, this thing is boring and slow. We need more fight scenes because fans like that stuff. So do more of this, do more of that. Go a little bit longer than that." They seem to really like that, and that's probably why. And even though you may disagree and say maybe Peter Jackson may have went overboard with it, but I still feel some memos came down from the studio this time. They had more interference on this trilogy than they did Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings, they pretty much told them to do whatever you want. But this one, the producers were like, this won't sell unless we have more action scenes in this. We have to have more in this. So that's probably why it felt the way it felt. So they're not badly choreographed, but I do
Mm-mm.
see what you're saying. I do see what you're saying. Look at the, yeah, it's some fight scenes could have either been cut or saved for later on into the trilogy.
What's your take on this one, Final?
Yeah, just basically on your opinion, because they dragged out for a little too long. Because it's just not badly choreographed, but um, but I feel like that's basically the driving factor throughout all three trilogies. That a lot, it's just nothing but action scenes. Yeah, we would have a lot of character-driven moments, especially for the third movie, which that was really their intention anyway. But it's just mostly a lot of the fight scenes, and the biggest highlight was the fight with Smaug and later in the movie, later in this trilogy.
The
Mm-hmm.
chases were too long too, especially in Goblin Town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah,
But the thing
Goblins.
is, ironically though, ironically though, Goblin Town's chase scenes kept me invested.
Mm-hmm.
That's a strange thing about that. That was a strange thing about Goblin. Like the fight with the fight with the trolls was overdone. But when it came down to Goblin Town, I had no problem with it being that long of a chase scene. Especially the way how they set up Goblin Town. My main issue with Goblin Town though is the geography and the continent. Well, no, there was no continuity flubs. It was just the geography. You can never tell where anybody was at technically while they were running and trekking through, trying to escape Goblin Town. One moment you see Ballins in on a lower bridge. Another moment you will see Thorin with Fili and Kili on the top of another bridge. Then you'll see Gandalf with uh with what was his name again? Oin, Gloin, Buford Buffer, and all them just running across the bridge somewhat. And then like in a wide shot, they're all together now.
They were trying, I think, to recreate the cave in the Lord of the Rings, the Khazad-dûm. I think they were trying to recreate that, but this
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was a
time,
lot of recreations. We'll
yeah, they were.
begin
That's probably
more on
why.
that later.
That's
Yeah,
probably why you felt the way you felt, because maybe for that with the goblins, maybe that's why that you felt the way you did, because they were trying to recreate that instead of coming up with something different. I mean, I like the way the goblins looked and the setting, but I see what you're saying. Yeah,
yeah, because
you have to
there's
like,
really a
okay,
lot
where
of
did everybody
things that
go?
are there's really a lot of things that are very parallel with Unexpected Journey with Fellowship of the Ring when you actually really look at it. Because
Yes.
we begin with the Shire, which is where we cut to 60 years earlier with Bilbo, and then we cut to a party scene within the Shire where all the dwarves come in, all thanks to Gandalf, and then suddenly Bilbo decides to go on this journey willingly after he decided to sign the contract that they gave him, which was comically long. Instead of just
Yeah.
like instead of like in the book where it just only asks him only a few questions, and then Gandalf had to ask him to actually to come over, and oh yeah, um, and the sole driving factor of why he decided to go on this adventure was because one, Gandalf actually asked him to, and the other, and it's especially in the original animated version of The Hobbit, when they were singing Misty Mountains, which is sung in a completely different way than how we see it here, which is what's which is more iconic. Which in the book he actually describes it how it actually moved him into going on to this journey along with them, which the entire song is meant to foreshadow the entire story. But here, when that I already sung with Misty Mountains, and while it still foreshadows the entire story, it's meant to sound more so as like a song of mourning that they've just lost their home and now they're trying to get it back.
Mm.
Yes. Yes, that's what. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I like the idea of, like you said, it has a children's fantasy vibe to it, and we know why, because it was. I read this when I was in middle school, no, elementary school to middle school when I started reading it. So it did have a children's vibe to it, especially when I'm saying he's going on this adventure, but it's done in a way that a child could understand it. It doesn't talk down to the kids, but I do agree with them a home, or we couldn't a home that's no longer theirs, or they lost, as we find out in the story, in the prologue, when they bust in on Bilbo's. It kills me. They just come in his home and just eat all his food and take it over. I'm like, oh wait a minute, you draw. When he can't come in here and just start eating up my food here like this. I'm like, okay, yeah, okay, eat up all my food. All right, okay.
And they're somehow really more
hospitality.
really good.
I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
Really good reflexes somehow when they were just done eating, and yet they just catch all of it and they stack all the plates and bowls and they to clean everything up apparently, to even singing an entire song about it.
Yeah.
That's the thing that Bilbo hates. As a matter of fact, if you watch the extended movie, I do believe they have 2 or 3 songs, not 2 or 3, 3 or 4 songs in the first movie. There's Misty Mountains Cold. There's That's the thing Bilbo hate, but there's also another song that they cut out in the theatrical, which is a song that they sung when they were resting at Riverdale. Once they were picked up by the elves after being attacked by the Gundabek orc warg riders, which one of my favorite sequences in that movie, which is when Radagast writes that version of Azog's the Filer, which we're gonna get to him a bit too. Man, Azog the Defiler. What a waste of potential what he was.
Yes, I agree. But when they go to Rivendell, I do love the scene between Gandalf and Galadriel.
Oh my goodness!
I love that. No, I like that.
Oh my goodness! Don't even get me started on Galadriel when she reappeared. Oh my god! Woo-wee!
Yes, I loved when she. Oh, Kate Blanchett is wonderful. She is just fantastic in that. I said the same.
I never knew a figure eight could turn on itself.
Love that moment.
I mean, goodness, Peter Jackson, you had the right man. You shot. Okay, okay. I see you, Sly Dog.
That's a beautiful shot of her entrance. Yes, I was very.
Oh yeah, she had a behind her. One that burned me was sipping on her ass. Yeah. Peter Jackson, Jackson, I'm not gonna fault you for telling the truth. So why Boromir fell with that broad? Yeah,
it was Gimli.
It was that
Gimli. Gimli.
That too. But Leia, who was the one who fell to their knees? At least Gimli stood on his feet. He walked away bow-legged though. Yes. for sure. He walked away bow legged, but Boromir, he had weak knees. He had weak knees in that moment. I'm just saying. I'm
Yeah.
just saying. He had weak knees in that moment. Gimli just walked bow legged. He won that day. But no, like yeah,
Well,
her
Gandalf did have a
stand
big smile
silhouette.
on his face. He had a big smile on his.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we
he
know
had a
she
big
like him
smile on
older
his
too.
face.
She we know she like him seasoned. But her standing silhouette against that moonlight, oh my goodness. I
Beautiful.
like
Yeah.
Jackson. You are fucked up in the game now, man. You should not have like, bro. You should not have done that. 'Cause, man, the dress that he got her in, oh my
Yes, that was
goodness.
a.
When the moonlight hit her, oh my goodness. Her her, her whole dress gave her a full figure eight, gave her a full on silhouette within the dress. She had a whole silhouette within the dress in a figure eight. I was like, oh my goodness. I hope my wife is not watching me blushing. Cause man, I was like, I'm glad you turned around. Shit. I was like, Peter Johnson, you have a way of shooting a shot, man. You have your way of shooting your shots. Jesus Christ. I was like, bruh, it's bad enough that I'm a Kate Blanchett fan, man. He had her in profile. Like, you should not have brought that up. You should not have brought that. Like, man, oh man, you gave me flashbacks.
That's one of my. Well, I love Kate. As you know, I love Kate Blanchett's performance of Galadriel is iconic.
Then you had to
It's
ruin her in the third
iconic.
movie.
Yeah, but her performance is iconic. It is just going to go down in history. Her performance as Galadriel, and I'm sorry to bring that up, but I like that moment too. And how Peter Jackson
I think we like
shot her, and
I think we like that
dress.
moment for different reasons.
Yeah, and her dress that she called Mithrandi.
Found, don't lie.
She called. Yeah,
Don't lie. You became
and
a man that night.
Oh my god! No, I
When you
just
saw her turn around like that.
the womanliness and awe.
I beg your pardon.
And awe to see
Don't lie.
Yes,
don't lie.
oh
Don't lie,
God.
Fino. You became a man that night when she turned around.
Dude, I look at her as a
Oh,
guardian
Lord.
angel.
Yeah, and she blessed you, so you became a man.
Wolf.
I bet you in school with you,
Wolf.
you probably say the same fucking thing.
I bet.
He be like, "Yowza!"
And then and then
He'll
when they
he'll
had their
enable
little
my
council
ass.
there- and then when they had their little council there with Saruman,
See, child
and
agrees.
she had yes, she and she removed her coat, and you saw her in that gorgeous white gown when they were having their little
With
council
that figure
talking
eight.
about. Oh my, okay.
I can't help but
Well,
notice in the
it's-
frame
it was-
and shapely sculpture that was Kate Blanchett in that moment. She was a statue, man. Jesus. She was a
That was
beautiful
the
statue.
point. That is the way.
Hmm.
It's the way she's described in the novel. I think she's Galadriel is over 7 feet tall as an elf. She's
Yeah.
a tall elf.
Yeah,
so
because
that
elves
is-
are
that is-
described as being tall. In fact, they are light on their feet too.
Yes. So if you saw her as a statue come to life, that was what he was.
Child.
That's what.
Guardian angels can be beautiful and sexy. I'm just saying the lady had a figure eight. She had a bright future behind her. He had her in a white dress underneath the moonlight. When the moonlight touched that dress, she created her own silhouette within the dress. And when she turned around, the magic was gone, but I was happy. I was like, "Yep, it's Galadriel." But damn. Okay, we get it, Peter Jackson. She's sexy as hell, and ain't nothing wrong with that either. Thank you for that. You knew your audience. You know your see. I'm gonna say this right now. That was Peter Jackson's apology right there. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry we had to do it this way, but here's Galadriel's ass. There you go.
Oh my
She
So
was in a cape.
Galadriel made everyone glad either up above or down below.
They change her name to Galadriel.
Oh
Galadriel.
God. Whoa.
Oh god.
She was
Oh
in a
God. Whoa.
cape.
She was in the cape, but damn it, that cape gave
She
her a
removed
silhouette.
and she removed it when she was in the scene. Finally, you remember the scene where she was talking to Gandalf, Saruman,
Hmm.
Sauron,
Mm.
I mean Saruman, and her, and she had on that beautiful. You could really see that flowing white gown she was in, and she could read their minds. You remember the scene where they were discussing? They were talking
Yeah.
about the necromancer, and she could
Hmm.
read Gandalf's mind with it, and and now you got a good look at the gown she was wearing, that beautiful glowing gown, as Professor
Hmm.
could call a feminine power. It's femininity power because we know how powerful
Oh, I
she
felt
is.
that femininity, all right. That was emanating from the screen. I gotta give props to Peter Jackson for reintroducing her to the trilogy in such a
Okay.
way.
Okay, how long
But
are we gonna continue just with praising Kate Blanchett's with Galadriel before we get on to the rest of the movies?
Yeah,
I
we got to
mean,
move on.
she's the highlight in both movies. Jesus Christ. Hey, the sin is he casted her as Galadriel. Okay, that's a sin.
Okay.
How is that
Eh,
even a sin?
Love, love, love. In the case of this host, love the sin, not the sinner. But speaking now that y'all bring up the necromancer, I could not stand the necromancer subplot,
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I didn't
very
think that
obvious
worked.
as to who it is just by looking at the silhouette.
and entirely
Yes.
pointless too.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there. We kind of know what's going on. They didn't have to
That's
allude
why.
to it like that.
Well, the thing is, it kind of it really downgrades Azog as a antagonist. Yes, we know orcs move on. Their point. They're guided by evil first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
But the thing is, to have the necromancer be the leader of the Gundabad orcs, I was hoping that the Gundabad orcs were operating on their own free will at that point, where they're just doing whatever that dare pleases them. This is where we get Azog the Defiler, which is an anomaly in that, like him being a pale orc. I was thinking like, oh, he's a pale orc. I mean, he is operating independently of himself and just indulging in chaos. He's going around just taking what he wants. That's why he's called the Defiler. He's defiling where he goes. And get your minds out of the gutter when I say that, motherfuckers.
Oh God.
In other words, he's vandalizing the land that he invades. I was hoping that Azog would just be this. He'd be this big deal, but he wouldn't be on a grand scale as to the power of Mordor itself. Like this was a taste of what is to come when the threat to Middle Earth becomes apparent.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping that by that time he would have died as a credible threat on his own. And I'm mainly speaking on Shadow of Mordor terms here, where in that game itself, that game franchise itself, the orcs tend to act like they have a mind, you know.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing really guiding them as much. You have to quote unquote unite them or conquer them in order to command them. But I digress. So seeing Azog the Defiler come back, especially when you get that flashback moment where he has taken Moria, and it was Thorin who, in Isildur fashion, cuts off the man's hand.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
As epic a scene that was, we know that Peter Jackson just repainted the.
He re yeah. We saw a lot, like I said, a lot of replaying what happened in Lord of the Rings. He's replaying it here.
It was berries in a way, but
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
is some there is a positive takeaway from the scene, especially you see the dwarves mourning their dead, you know, weeping for each other. Those that are still alive, Dwalin and Balin embracing each other. Just happy that they were able to live through that, and
Hmm.
seeing Thorin standing tall, which is a beautiful shot. That's a that's one thing I got to credit again. Peter Jackson with his shots, especially when he has a really good eye for lighting.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see, especially another scene where, especially in that same scene where you have Thorin standing stoically by himself with his hands behind his back, contemplating things against the darkness,
Mm-hmm.
which I put in that opener, which you see in the opener with a shot of Thorin. Now we don't really say much about the rest of the other doors. The only ones that gets much of a speaking line, or at least much of a presence to shine, and for us to really identify, is mostly Dwalin, Balin, and Feely and Keely. But you got Biffer, Bumfer,
Yeah.
Oin, Gloin. Am I missing any of them?
Mm,
The
I
casting
I
list
don't
right
think.
now.
Yeah,
Gary,
because I can't
Derry.
remember the top of my head. I feel like saying "Happy Dopey Sleepy Doc" at the end, but those were other dwarves.
Yeah, because funny that you mentioned the seven dwarves, because in the book, the dwarves in the Hobbit are supposed to dress in colorful outfits, but yet here they're dressed in a little bit more a darker fashion.
Neutrals. Yeah,
Their
darker
Yeah,
armor.
fashions.
neutrals.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
They're actually more colorful than Gilly himself.
hmm.
Interesting. Oh, okay.
in fact, they also have pretty stylized beards in this trilogy.
So
Yeah.
Biffer, Bumfer, Boofer, Buffer, Feely, Keely, Oin, Gloin, Nori, Dory, Ori, uh, Dwalin,
Dope
Ballin, and Thorin.
and Dopey Sleepy and Doc. Haha, little sense of humor. Okay, move on. Okay.
Dopey, sleepy, and dog.
You even have that's an impressive feat to actually have.
They're 12. They were 12, correct?
I I'm just saying that's an impressive feat to get humble to sigh and
No, there was
groan.
13
Oh, well, I tried.
because counting because they're counting because counting the 14 because they're counting Bilbo as one of them.
Okay. Thank you, Child of Flower. She gets it. She gets it.
Just talking about Thor.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Thor struck me. He was the most striking out of all of the dwarf designs actually. Motherfucker had
Thor.
had Motherfucker had chrome running through his damn beard.
Mm-hmm.
Motherfucker had bling running down his beard and shit. Looking like a pimp.
Yeah,
Thorin
because
is
they
the
have
son of
because a lot of the dwarves in the Hobbit have really stylized beards instead of just being just a scraggly beard in comparison to Gimli.
Hmm.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Prime example was Ballin. He looks like Santa
Mm.
Claus.
Yeah, more
Had
than
red had
ironically
red
more
on
Santa
everything.
Claus than Gandalf, apparently.
Yep. Yep. It's just straight like a short ass Santa Claus. He would not stand out from any fairy tale book either. I would definitely cast the guy who plays him as Doc in a Snow White movie, but we're not here to talk about that.
Hmm.
Anything else y'all want? Oh, you know what? Let's race to the end. Gollum.
Oh,
Oh
Andy's.
yeah.
Oh yeah, because that's the exact moment that plays out in the book, the game of riddles between Bilbo and Gollum.
Riddles in the
Yes,
dark.
but
Because
yes.
it was a shorter moment in Lord of the Rings when he first found it, when Bilbo first found it, but yet it's played out a lot longer here because it's meant to mirror the exact moment as to how it happens in the book when he first met him, especially how he got the ring.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, did you find Gollum more threatening here than he was in Lord of the Rings?
Eh,
Did I find him more? Mm,
about as
I would.
an equal, pretty much equally as threatening.
Yeah, I would say the same thing.
He
Not a
only
little
shows
fuck.
up once in the throughout the entire trilogy because he's only shown up in one film, and we never really see him throughout the others.
No, the motherfucker scared the fuck out of me in The Hobbit.
You were probably young.
No, no, I wasn't young. Young ain't got shit.
Oh,
No, in The Hobbit, he was way more
okay.
scarier. Motherfucker
Really?
talking to himself
Oh.
right in front of Bilbo and shit, talking some shut up and we eats it. Motherfucker had this sinister grin and everything. He wasn't whining. He wasn't crying. This motherfucker was just all business at this point. Shit. Like, this is a,
Considering how
But
long he spent without any company, yeah, I think he lost his marbles.
I mean, yeah, but like compared to him in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, he's a puppy in the Lord of the Rings trilogy until you betray him and he fucking snaps. But here this motherfucker was all controlled insanity. Like
but
you didn't know what to really do around him. Like anything you could do could make him snap and attack you. Especially when he went to a fucking goblin and bashed that fucker's head in. All up in is again playing with the whole lighting thing with Peter Jackson. The motherfucker was doing it in shadow, in silhouette.
Mm-hmm.
Then he crawls away, completely crawls away when he hears a sound. You know, just
Mm-hmm.
that
Mhm.
creep factor coming in where you just know that something's in there, but it knows its home way better than you, obviously, and it's just navigating its way around silently. Just imagine being in a dark room with Gollum, and he doesn't make not one sound until he pops up at you. I was like, Jesus Christ! Somehow Peter Jackson found a way to make Gollum scarier than he already is.
and yet
Yeah, for
Bilbo still had pity on him, which is
Oh
why
mm-hmm.
yeah,
Bilbo
Mm-hmm.
did
definitely
not
that's
kill him.
yeah,
Bilbo,
especially that scene
yeah, Bilbo was
when
ready
he's
to strike
invisible.
with Sting. Yeah, he was ready to strike with Sting, but he holds back because that was interesting.
Y'all ready to move on to this one a small? Cause we
Oh
Yes.
ain't
yeah.
we is not fit to fucking go into the Eagles debate or the acorn flinging or the fact that Thorn loses his Oakenshield arm, his cool ass Oakenshield arm. You know, we all know how it happens. It just ends with them being rescued by the Eagles and set to go to the straight to Erebor, and we get a shot of Smaug's eye, which is oh my
I
goodness,
I did
Mm-hmm.
like that. I liked how it ended.
what
It's
a
all
way to
quiet
end.
and the little, yeah. I liked how that ended. I have to agree. I have to confess that I did like how that ended with his eye.
Uh-huh.
And I'm racing to that so you guys can finally get to talk about the y'all ready to talk about.
Yes, because the Destination of Smaug, in my opinion, this is the best of the three films. That's just me. I think this second one, despite some of the flaws, there are flaws. I still think it's the
Mm.
best of the three films.
Yep.
I liked that version of the Dragon Smog better than the one in the animated version.
Oh
Oh
boy,
yeah.
you better be glad Owen Lister's not with us.
Well, everyone's got their own personal taste. To
I
me, it
know.
was like he looked great in the head, and then when he was actually in flight, I'm like, wow, I didn't know helium balloons could turn like that. And right when he gets hit with that arrow, I could almost imagine this.
Oh no! Oh no! Just like it's just playing that sound while he's just like flying around uncontrollably, and then he just.
No.
No, she's talking about a balloon deflating.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's a balloon. Yeah, it's a balloon flying around everywhere. But if it just pops, just goes, flies around uncontrollably before.
Or you have to expect an Acme moment.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but anyway, yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch as the voice of Smaug. Oh my god, that is badass.
I love that whole exchange.
And that is not a
between him
spoiler,
and
guys.
Bilbo.
That's
that
not
was
spoilers.
brilliant.
That the voice of Smaug came up in the damn trailer.
Yes, it's not a spoiler. You're right. But I love that whole scene between him and Bilbo. You have to remember he's a hobbit. So a hobbit compared to that giant dragon like smell has got to be frightening. Because when Smaug first starts to come into focus, again, like you said, with lighting, he's a scary dragon. And I like that he made him scary. That he Marty said, Humble said, he's not childish kitty dragon. When I saw him, even I'm grown, I thought, wow, he's a scary
he was so
dragon.
He was very cat-like.
Yes, but I love it. I thought it was brilliant.
Thief, I smell you. I hear your breath. I feel your air. Where are you? Where are you? Come now, don't be shy. Step into the light. There's something.
Well, isn't he more serpent-like?
Something you carry, something made of gold, but far more precious. I think all I need to do is laying on my chest.
He was more serpent-like, but it's in the book. This little dance, I like to call it, between Bilbo and Smaug, and with Bilbo's dialogue. Do you guys think Bilbo was trying to wise his way out of it to get past him, or what do you think between this?
Well, this movie is all about him using his brains throughout. I mean, look at how. There's a reason why Gandalf picked him as to be their burglar, because nobody expects an elf, a hobbit, of anything. In fact, dare I say it, not many people across Middle Earth knows about the hobbits. It's funny how we tend to forget that there's absolutely no force on Middle Earth that absolutely knows about the hobbits, which is interesting to say the least. And that's why Bilbo works so much, especially narratively speaking, especially in the books. But when you look at him and how he operates within the first movie and up until the second movie, barely anybody notices him. And it's not because of the ring either. Yes, he uses the ring on a few occasions, but even then, when he doesn't use the ring, nobody knows he exists. Especially Thranduil, which is funny. There was a moment where Thranduil himself, it almost felt like it almost seemed like he sensed Bilbo's presence within the room, when in fact it was our new addition, Turiel, the elf woman.
Yeah, the female elves.
Yeah,
let's get into it. Y'all ready to detour into her?
Yeah, if you're ready, I'm ready.
Okay.
Played by Evangeline Lilly, aka the Watson in the Marvel Universe currently. What was y'all take on Turiel?
Do you guys want me to start, or do you guys want to start? Okay.
I already pitched you. You're on the chopping block. Get up there.
Alrighty. Nothing against Evangeline Lilly as an actress. Nothing against the look of Tariel. I thought her costume was absolutely brilliant. But this was a character that was not necessary to this movie. Tariel was created by, it was a Hollywood creation because there were some activists that felt there were no strong females in Tolkien. So they demanded that they invent one because they felt women would relate to the Hobbit better if there was a strong female elf. I am not making this up. And so they said that you don't have anybody strong in there, but I digress. They forgot about the Rohan, but I digress. But I feel she was not necessary to make this movie work. I felt her story and her star-crossed lovers with Keeley, which was a ripoff of Arwen and Aragorn, wasn't necessary to this movie. It slowed this movie down. It did not need it. I don't mind if you have female elves who fight, because Mirkwood elves are known to be more, the movie says it, they are more lethal, they're more deadly, they're more combative. But you didn't need her to carry this story. To me, she took some of the attention away from Legolas, which I was excited to see, because I felt you could have had a father and son story. You didn't have to have this star-crossed lovers, three-way love story going on here. Make Legolas look like an idiot. So I'm just being honest. If we watched this before we came here, Tariel was a character not needed. This movie would have worked very fine without her. I thought she was a distraction, and I didn't feel that we needed her. Those are my opinions on the character of Tariel.
Yeah, she was just as if because this entire trilogy doesn't parallel specific moments within the Lord of the Rings trilogy, why not have a character meant to be based on make her a less interesting version of Arwen? And better yet, make it a love triangle between her, Legolas, and what's the other guy's name?
Keeley.
It's the other archer, yeah.
Yeah, I felt that Tariel was their version, was the Arwen that activists wanted. They always complained that Arwen was not an active, was not a warrior elf. This is what they wanted. They wanted Arwen to be, and they hated it. Yeah, they
bunch of activists wanted a female Aryan strong woman elf lady, and she ended up becoming useless sidekick side B.
You got it.
Oh my goodness.
But oh no, she's not the only original character I've made in this trilogy. No, there's another one, but we'll get to him when we get to the Battle of the Five Armies.
Oh wow.
Okay. But she slowed
She was side B tug of war. In fact, I don't even want to call that a love triangle anyways, because Legolas was barely even noticed the bitch.
I mean,
it's supposed to be... Only time you ever paid attention was when Kitty was rubbing her the wrong way.
Yeah, Kitty.
She even had like a few moments. She even had like a few moments with Thranduil.
Yeah, her moments with Thranduil. You know, telling the king, "You don't know what you're doing, Your Majesty. I'm strong women. I know all."
Let's not exaggerate that bit. She was assertive for sure, but she was not trying to undermine the king that much. Because if she was, if she was undermining King Thranduil, she would have rescued the dwarves herself and not Bilbo. You gotta remember, it wasn't her who released the dwarves.
I know, and that was different from the novel too. That's what happened in the book. It's the situation with the dwarves in the cave in Thranduil's jail was very, very different in the novel. In the novel, he had Gollum actually locked up in the in his dungeons, but Gollum escaped from the dungeons. And I don't want to throw you guys off, but I'm just telling, yeah,
Yeah,
that they said
Thranduil.
about the Thranduil escaped, and then
Yeah,
Thranduil found out about it.
yeah.
Go ahead, Final.
Thranduil is he's such an asshole in this trilogy.
Yeah, and he's not like that in the book. I didn't like that, but go ahead, Final.
Yeah, it's just I know. Actually, you know, I'm gonna talk about even Thranduil, even in for one moment in that one moment in Battle of the Five Armies. Yeah, like yeah, sure, he locked up the dwarves in the second film in the yeah, Desolation of Smog, but in the book he locked them up because he thought they were already up to something. He thought they were gonna be stealing something. Maybe it's gonna be an ambush that they didn't even know about. That's why he locked them up. And in the Battle of the Five Armies, when they were actually giving them giving people some supplies, he did it out of the goodness of his heart and helped Bard, who is actually one of the minor characters that was also given a whole arc in this trilogy. And in here, he's only doing that as if it's one of his out of an ulterior motive.
Such is the
Right, I
nature of
didn't like that.
evil. Out there in the
Yeah.
vast ignorance of the world, it festers and spreads. A shadow that grows in the dark, a sleepless malice as black as the overcoming wall of night. So it ever was, so it always be. In time all foul things come forth. It is a crime to wander in my realm without leave. If you forget, you are using the road of my people made. It has been a long time since Thorn Oakenshield traveled so far east. For what purpose? Where does your journey end? Some imagine that a noble quest is at hand, a quest to reclaim a homeland and slay a dragon. I myself suspect a more prosaic motive, attempted burglary, or something of that ilk. You have found the way in. You seek that which would bestow upon you the right to rule, the king's jewel, the Arkenstone. It is precious to you beyond measure. I understand that. There are jewels in the mountain that I too desire, white gems of pure starlight. I offer you my help. I will let you go if you but return what is mine. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Very good reading. I was going to go in context a little bit. As Final said, in the book, he is not as antagonistic as the
I'm
movie
not done yet,
made
though.
him. Okay, I will let you finish.
I offer you my help. I'm listening. I will let you go if you but return what is mine. A favor for a favor. You have my word. One king to another. Will not trust Thranduil, the great king, to honor his word should the end of all days be upon us. You lack all honor. I have seen how you treat your friends. We came to you once, starving, homeless, seeking your help, but you turned your back. You turned away from the suffering of our people in the inferno that destroyed us. Do not speak to me of dragon fire. I know its wrath and ruin. I have faced the great serpents of the north. I warned your grandfather, whereas greed would summon. He would not listen. You are just like him. So go. Stay here and rot. 100 years is a mere blink in the life of an elf. I'm patient. I can wait.
Monologue moment, yes. Great monologue moment from Wolf of Grandwheel.
And me and the
Yes.
wife had to wear plastic bags over our feet because all the women creamed.
Oh my
Did you not
goodness!
blame
Oh
them?
yeah,
Did you not blame them? I'm sorry.
I don't blame them,
Replays
but
of Grandwheel was the perfect token elf. I loved every bit of his look. I cannot deny it. I cannot deny it. He looked, that is great
this motherfucker
costume
came
and
from
makeup.
Ronan to being an elfin king. Lee
Yes.
Pace has done it again.
And he's
I
very tall.
don't.
I think he's 6'4", 6'2". He's
Yeah, that
very
motherfucker big.
tall.
I
Yeah,
saw
he's
that motherfucker.
very.
I saw that motherfucker behind the scenes. He towered over Orlando Bloom.
He did. Yeah.
There ain't no
Wow.
CG. There ain't no CGI or no camera work at work in those scenes with him and Legolas. That motherfucker look over. That motherfucker look down on Legolas. Literally.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That is not CGI. That is not his special camera. This is that procession bullshit. That is Lee Pace towering over that motherfucker.
Yes.
I
You won't. Go ahead.
like I said, bruh. I saw the behind the scenes. That motherfucker is tall. I don't know how the hell he don't tower Chris Pratt in Guardians of the Galaxy.
I don't know either.
I
Force
was like, how?
He
perspective.
does. He does. I saw behind the scenes where they were taking pictures of behind the scenes, and Lee Pace towered over the whole cast.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how
Wow.
my thing is, but every time I saw Ronan, he was small, not necessarily tinier than Drax himself. No, motherfucker look just about the same size as them.
That could
But
be.
when I saw him in the Hobbit, how the fuck your ass is this tall, but your ass is short in Guardians? Every time I saw Ronan, even in Captain Marvel, yes, there I reference Captain Marvel. Motherfucker looks short.
Well, that's
But anyways,
he is 6'4", I think. He's very, very tall. Yes. He was perfectly cast. I think that to me is the depiction of a Tolkien elf. His costumes were just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I don't blame women for drooling. I thought, wow, you're gonna
They
cast the
thirsted
father
after
of Legolas.
they thirsted after his they thirsted after Legolas, and yet now he is here in this trilogy for fan service for people who've seen the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and now it happens all over again. This time even harder with his own father.
His father made tons of people say
Motherfucker became
daddy
a
that day.
became a dilf. That motherfucker became a dilf.
And not to mention, now that we mentioned that he just being out of characterly antagonistic, and
No,
for
no,
some
no. I take
reason,
that back. He became a gilf and a dilf rolled in one. Because remember, he 1,000 years old or so. So he a grandma,
Yes, he's pretty
a
1,000.
grandpa,
Yeah.
a granddad, and a daddy. That motherfucker, the gilf.
I'm sorry, I'm just laughing at the gilf. No, I can't look at it.
He's a the gilf.
You can.
Motherfucker, a daddy and a grandfather rolled in one. And every woman wanted to bang his ass. Wanted that magic elf semen, that magic elf milk.
Oh my god.
ugh,
Oh my god.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
he he looked like
that's
he would be the
disgusting.
father. Yeah, I know. I know. I know. He looked like he was the father of you. I believed him as Legolas's father. I really believed it.
Soon that motherfucker walked past the women. They all had his grandchildren.
Yes. But he looked like he
And
was
for
the
Even the
some
father of
les-
reason,
Legolas.
like, and for some
even the
reason, like, part of his
lesbians.
face would just been rotting at one part, and then just goes back to normal
Oh,
to
that
Ella's
wasn't
face
rot.
one time.
That was
That was
his burned face that he was hiding.
that
That he was
that is
concealing
not
with glamour.
that is not in the novel. That's a movie decision. In the novel, there is no scar that he can cover up. That is a movie decision. That was sorry to give you guys let you know. No, in the novel, Thranduil has no scar at all. That was a movie Hollywood decision.
That's
Yeah,
disappointing.
Very true.
and they never brought
Sorry
that
about
up
that.
in
It's very true.
they never brought it up again in the third movie, and it probably should have been for the better because
Right.
because because that never happened in the book because he's never
happened in the book.
Still disappointing.
Sorry to tell you
Fucking
that,
scar
but
make him look badass and hardcore.
yeah, he has no
Consider-
scar to cover up in the
All
novel.
I'm
But in
saying
the
is
novel, they did.
considering the serpents that he fought, how big those fuckers are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he
Well,
never
see,
fought in the book.
right.
What I'm saying is, this motherfucker fought dragons bigger than fucking Smaug himself.
Well, here's the backstory. If you remember in the Lord of the Rings, in the Two Towers, there's a field that Gollum and Sam and not Bilbo, but
Frodo.
Frodo.
Frodo walk through like a marsh. And when he looks down
Mm-hmm.
into the water, he sees these dead elves. That marsh was a great battle that Thranduil and his father fought. And you can read this in the Silmarillion, where him and his father fought. And it was a great battle, but many elves died in that battle, including Thranduil's father. Thranduil watched his father get slain to death in that battle. And he was able to fight the rest of the warriors off, but he had to move his people into the woodland realm because of this battle. And because of it, Thranduil, when he said he never forgot, that was the battle that he never got. He never forgot his father brutally slain in this war. And you get remnants of it in the Two Towers. When you see Frodo look in the water, you see these dead elves, or the spirit of these dead elves. They were the Mirkwood elves that Thranduil was a part of in the battle. So that's kind of his backstory that's very different in the movie. And so that's why he took them into Mirkwood. Was not always called Mirkwood. The woodland realm was a beautiful, magical place. But when Sauron began to take power, the spiders from the mountain, I think they were babies of She-Bolg, started to invade the land and rot it, and that's when it became Mirkwood. And so that's why you see them fighting off spiders when we meet them up in the movie. We see them fighting the spiders because they have now taken over Mirkwood, and Thranduil is fighting to get it back to what it once was. So in the Lord of the Rings, when you have the Fellowship off doing what they're doing, Thranduil is actually in a battle in Mirkwood, fighting to try to save it. So there's more of his story in the Silmarillion. So he's in his own battle while his son, which is Legolas, is sent away to join the Fellowship. He sends Legolas away. I didn't want to get to the ending, but the ending in the Battle of the Five Armies is not the ending in the book. Legolas actually is sent away by Thranduil to join the Fellowship in Rivendell. He sends him away while he stays to try to fight Mirkwood while he's fighting the battle in Minas Tirith. That's the timeline of these two characters.
And he
I know
mentioned
you're
Strider.
there.
He mentioned Strider at the end, and which a lot of people know from the books when they've read it. It's actually Aragorn, even though he would be a lot younger in here.
Yes.
Even though he never was mentioned in there, because
Right.
The Hobbit
Yes.
was made before Lord of the Rings. What's the point, guys? Oh wait, yeah, fan service for people who've actually seen Lord of the Rings, even though Aragorn was never mentioned as Strider in the movies.
I thought
Until
Aragorn had
now.
nests to be
Yeah,
destroyed not 2 moons past. We cleared the forest as ordered, my lord, but more spiders keep coming from the south. They're spawning from the ruins of Dol Guldur. If we could kill them at their source. That fortress lies beyond our borders. Keep our lands clear of those foul creatures. That is your task. And when we drive them off, what then? Will they not spread to other lands? Other lands are not my concern. The fortress of the world will rise and fall, but here in this kingdom we will endure.
Yes. So he is trying to fight the spiders off. That's fact, because he's trying to get Mirkwood to what it once was. Mirkwood was a beautiful place. Now, what you don't see in the film, there is in the novel, this is very true. Thranduil has this magical pool, and in this pool, when you bathe yourself in this pool, you bathe in it long enough, it creates a dream world for you that is so realistic and beautiful, you would not want to leave. And actually, some of the dwarfs do bathe in that water, and they don't want to leave because it creates this magical illusion world for you, and it's so realistic you don't want to leave the water. And that's a little magical pool that he has. But they didn't show that in the movie, but he does have that. And some of the dwarves did bathe in it, and Bilbo had to rescue them out because they were locked into the spell that this pool creates. So Mirkwood was once this
They're a bunch of
novel.
dumbasses in the book.
Yes, they are. They are. But Thranduil to me was the best part of this film. I absolutely loved Lee Pace. That to me is a Tolkien elf. The way he's designed, from the hair to his robes to his clothes to his armor, we get later. That is what
As
I
such the
imagine
good we
the elf
talk
to be.
about, we have to address the bad.
Okay, I'll let you start
Yeah, we
first.
already mentioned the bad on one part. That
Mhm.
scar that he said in his face, that did not happen!
Yes, it did not happen. I'm
Is it
sorry.
way worser than the river scene? Tell me. Is it way
Oh, the
worse than
river
the river
scene.
scene? Because that was so fucking cartoonish.
When they escaped in the barrels.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That is so Disney-esque.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
But credit
Because,
to credits due where Peter Jackson kept the camera submerged in some parts of the water where you shift perspectives outside, inside, around the barrels and everything. I gotta give him props for that. I do have to give him some props where credit's due because Peter Jackson is good with the camera. All right,
Hmm.
but Jesus Christ, can he stop stroking his cock for Legolas?
Oh, come on. I was happy to see. Oh, I see what you're saying. Even though I was happy to see Legolas, I do see what you're saying.
Motherfucker skipping on their heads like a damn deer in a fucking magic movie, doing all these trick arrow shots and shit. I'm like,
I didn't
yes,
mind
we
it.
get it. The motherfucker's good shooting a damn arrow. Okay,
But don't you think
doesn't
don't you think we need to see that so we know why they needed him in the fellowship?
no, no, we did not.
Okay.
Toria, see, we could complain about Toria being a strong, independent woman, but this should have
Mhm.
been her moment to shine. She should have been commanding her own little group of elves running around. They could be fucking confused as to why she's following these dwarves, and she could explain her reasoning. Yes, it's a dumbass excuse, but she would explain her reason as in, well, Thranduil is sending me to spy on these dwarves to see where they're going to prevent them from doing what they're doing, which is burglary. And they'd be like, okay, cool. We did
But didn't
not
she?
need no we did not need no damn Legolas in this motherfucking mix at all. And
Well, that
don't
seems a
even
little
get me
odd to
started
me
on what
because Legolas is original character. Tariel is
we
not
don't
an
need
original
that
character.
motherfucker.
Yes, we do.
We need him in the Lord of the Rings. That's all we needed. That's, that's the same equivalent as adding Darth Maul to every damn thing. His time was done. I had my feeling of Legolas and Darth Maul. I didn't need to see this motherfucker everywhere. Oh wait, better comparison, freaking Asajj Ventress. We didn't need that bitch that much.
I didn't mind him in
Y'all know who
some.
I'm talking about? Asajj Ventress.
yes.
Bitch became a fucking. She was a Sith, a Dark Jedi, then a Sith, then a Night Sister, then a. Can you stop adding so much trinkets to this bitch? She ain't no damn keychain.
Yeah,
You add
yeah,
that many trinkets
because,
to a
like I
keychain,
said,
it'll end up looking like a work club.
yeah, because,
For
like I
real.
said, because, like I mentioned, the mention of Strider, Legolas was not supposed to be in here. He was only there, again, as fan service for people who've seen the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but also to have the father and son moment between him and Thranduil. And also, he isn't supposed to be there because he was not made in The Hobbit, because The Hobbit was made before The Lord of the Rings. He was not there.
Fucking exactly. We did not need no damn Legolas. That's like that'd be like weird to see Gimli among them. We know he's a kid, but
Yes.
still, like, the fuck is look like you need to get your dick off of Legolas, man. Should create a new character in place of him.
Well, here's the thing. I do agree. I I do agree what you're saying, Final. I cannot argue that. Legolas is
Motherfucker
not
stabbed
shown
a
in The
damn
Hobbit,
orc
and I do think he
while
was put in
shot it
this
on his
movie for
bow.
fan
Stabbed
service.
another orc with another arrow. Shot another orc through the head into another orc. Shot another arrow through another orc.
I didn't.
Through another orc. Through another orc. Motherfucker skipping, hop skipping on dwarf heads, doing his little swan dive thing, and then shoot. Like would you get out my
I
fucking
didn't
movie right
mind
now?
it.
I hope
I
your
see
ass
what you
tripping
guys are
that damn
saying.
water.
I guess
But I know
guess
it's impossible. I know it's impossible for your ass to trip
I
in the damn water because your ass is a damn elf and you can skip over that shit like Jesus. Like damn it. And then we got Balfa
I
rolling around like it's Katamari Dakachi all over these damn orcs and shit. Then turns himself to a fucking wheelbarrow pig cushion. Like this fucking river scene is so damn ridiculous. I know we complain about the overly long chase scene in Goblin Town, but this tastes of cake. Hell, half
I
these
agree
orcs are
with you
fucking
about the chase
incompetent at their
scene.
damn job. They can't even hit these motherfuckers. And they were and what's funny was each orc they killed, they gained a new weapon. Easily. I was like, ain't no way in hell at that trajectory you gonna catch that damn I'm sorry, you ain't gonna catch that damn weapon in that exact same trajectory. Fuck that.
So they had the aim of Star Wars stormtroopers?
Oh, they had worse aim than Star Wars Stormtroopers. At least they hit the thing that people are trying to board, at least. These motherfuckers couldn't hit shit. Half time they were aiming for the damn barrels. Y'all know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, because there's another thing
Can I say
that
this, and
also
then when we
that
go on,
oh
go ahead, final, and then I'll say
yeah,
my piece. If you want to get in,
because
go ahead.
another thing that's been very present throughout pretty much since Desolation of Smog and then Battle of the Five Armies, it cannot decide on what its tone is, because it still goes for like the silly kid adventure that The Hobbit is known for the tone, but yet the film itself, and especially in Battle of the Five Armies, goes for a more serious tone as it is in Lord of the Rings. Like, Bilbo now suddenly growing with the addiction with the ring, which is not really present at all in the book, because he doesn't even notice it
Mm-hmm.
in the book,
Mm-hmm.
but now he's beginning to notice it because now he's beginning to feel it in Desolation of Smaug because it is connected because it's connected. Oh, because Lord of the Rings did that because yeah, it's supposed to because the ring is Sauron's heart per se, basically his power.
Mm-hmm.
It's the source of his power anyway.
Yes.
Um, and then to even going to Battle of the Five Armies, where in the book Thorin suffered from the same fate as, or not suffered from the same type of
Sickness.
madness, the same
Yes.
sickness that his granddad went through because of when Smaug was there for a long time. That how he's been laying dormant there when he took their home, and yet Battle of the Five Armies takes that, but overcomplicates the hell out of it with the frickin' stone.
Yeah, I would
Mm-hmm.
agree with that. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, you're right. The madness that he suffers from
This
because of
motherfucker
the
ready
with
to
the
wrap it
yeah.
up. I guess you're getting sleepy, huh, Final?
Because no, we just keep skip hip hopping around Battle of the Five Armies and Desolation of Smog a lot now that you went on a full tirade.
Yeah.
It was just that one scene that fucked me up on my first viewing of Desolation Small. Motherfuckers run through a damn river and shit, and it's only two L's backing them up. I'm like, bullshit. Should have been more, damn it. Not just these
I
two.
I still like
This
Okay.
Legolas moments. I still
nah,
like
nah.
Legolas moments. I understand. I'm not saying you're wrong, Wolf. You make a very valid point. I cannot argue that. But for the scene that I
I'll give
saw,
you one
I
oddity,
didn't mind.
one quick oddity. You know what made Legolas really feel out of place the most is the fact that Orlando Bloom came back and you can see his fucking age in the damn makeup.
Oh, oh God.
And apparently, Luke Evans, who plays Bard in Desolation of Smog and Battle of the Five Armies, looks more Orlando Bloom than Orlando Bloom ever did in the last two movies.
Did y'all notice that shit?
I noticed.
Especially on the big screen, the big
Like a
silver screen.
custom character in a video game cutscene.
Like, bruh, I can see the outline of your fucking skin mask.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just yeah
Jackson, why'd you bring him back? He look, you could
I
tell
guess he
his
wanted to come
age.
back.
I mean, I
Get
know he wanted to come back, but damn, when they put the makeup on
I
him,
think no, I think
his face is
Legolas was
wide.
brought back. He was brought back to get the fans to. It was fan service. It was to get them to come
Obviously.
into the
yeah.
box office. That's basically what it was. Legolas was fan
But
service.
did you notice how wide his face looked?
I didn't mind. I didn't think he aged that much.
Oh man, bro, you
He was already in his 30s when he did Lord of the Rings. He was 31 or
Yeah.
true,
32 when he
but he
did
was
that.
thin. He was thin then, but like, look at him, and that's a small motherfucker was wider. I was like, bruh, your age is showing.
Yeah, and just yeah, and I also mentioned Bard. He's a minor character in The Hobbit, but yet here, like every other minor character, he has a full-blown arc. He's basically given Aragorn's arc. And
Yeah.
not only that,
So Leia, how pink
they
your face was at that time?
Excuse me? What?
How pink your face was at that time
Pink, my
when you
face
first
was
saw
what? Are we
Bard?
talking about? I've always felt Luke Evans is attractive. There's no problem there. I've always said Luke Evans was already attractive. I
And
get it.
how deep your heart sank when you found out that he was homosexual?
Yeah, that hurt it, but well, we're not gonna. I said, well, we're not gonna
I'm
go there.
imagining a deep crater where her heart was when
I
she found
said,
out that he was married to a man.
anyway.
I said, well, no, final, final. That's more final. You make a good point about, but that is one of the faults of this trilogy. Too much time spent on characters. They really that minor
Too much
characters that
expansion.
too much
Yeah,
expansion on the
it's
minor characters.
not only is he basically given Aragorn's character arc that he went through in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the movie goes out of his way to basically make him into freaking Robin Hood. Stephen Fry's character as the Master of Lake Town basically plays as
God, I can't stand the master.
uh what's
What
it, Prince Richard, I think.
King Richard
King
or
Richard.
Richard? Yeah,
King Richard. Basically playing as him,
yeah.
and now he's good with the bow and arrow as well. The bard.
Yes. The writers, I think, were trying to
And
cram too much fan service.
he does deliver the final blow on Smaug like he does in the book. And
A lot of people wish it was a lot longer.
What, him
I was
shooting the
like,
killing snout?
mm-hmm. I was like, no, no, no. They spared us. They spared us that overly drawn out fight. And it's like, yeah, I understand that y'all want small to last a little longer, but like, Jesus Christ, no.
and then
Yeah.
and then another character, one more new character that's been added to this. Ryan Gage Alfred Alfred Lickspittle.
Oh
Oh
yeah, I
my
remember him.
god. Just
Yeah.
he gets his
Lick
comeuppance.
spittle?
That's his last name, yeah. It's the equivalent of trying to if you try to make Wormtongue funny when he isn't. Yeah, he gets his comeuppance like Wormtongue does. And he
Oh
tried
boy,
to
do not watch the extended version of that.
because he it's right at the Lone Mountain when he tries to hoard up some of the gold, and yet when he gets eaten,
So wait, are we at the Battle of Five Armies now?
yeah, because now he gets his comeuppance of getting basically what he deserves because the gold has been cursed with um it's been cursed ever since a Smaug had been laying dormant there for however long it was since after he took their home. And then yeah, he just sucks. He wasn't needed and just oh my god.
He sounds more like a Princess Bride villain,
He
especially
does.
with
Yeah.
his name, Lick the Spittle.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And oh yeah, another thing that pissed me off about Battle of the Five Armies, particularly in the theatrical release and the extended cut. The stone that the bard actually carried, in the theatrical cut, the stone is the last thing you ever see of it. But in the theatrical release, the last thing you ever see of it is in the proper scene that actually happens in the book, where after Thorin was killed in one big final battle, and he dies differently in this movie than he does in the book.
Yes.
He died when he's buried along with it, whilst the other dwarves that actually managed to survive this battle, they're actually honoring him while also humming Misty Mountains as a funeral song.
And Thranduil was at the funeral, and did he in the book he laid his sword or he laid something with him at the funeral? So he
laid his sword there.
Yeah, he laid his sword there. So in the book.
The goblin cleaver, because that's a sword that he used.
Right. So again, Thranduil was not as antagonistic in the movie. In the book, he did come to respect Thorin because he laid that shield next to him at his funeral reception. Yeah. The deal with the Battle of Five Armies and I mean, yeah, we should move to that because we're almost at the 2-hour mark. It's a disappointing finale. Is it the worst thing I've ever seen? No, it's not endgame disappointing, but it is disappointing because I think at this point, like Final probably brought it out, the writers just did not know what to do at this point. I really think they didn't know really what to do instead of just letting it play out because it's a battle in the novel.
The skin changer?
Did you guys like him?
I thought he was cool.
Yeah, I thought he was all right. Yeah.
Only line that left an impression with me was what he said to Gandalf and his posse, and he ends it with, "But I hate orcs more."
Yes, because he escaped them. The orcs had him imprisoned, by correct, and he was able to escape. And so, yeah, he says he doesn't like dwarfs. They're greedy and whatever. I forgot what else he said. They're greedy or something, and he says it real threatening. But he says, "But orcs I hate more. What do you need?" And he gave them the horses, the ponies, and everything to get to where they needed to go.
Mm-hmm.
But he was pretty cool for his scene. Yeah, I thought he was all right. But he came back in Battle of the Five Armies. But he was one character. It's very interesting. Final talk about putting too much emphasis on minor characters. They let him have his moment and they went on. And that's what they should have did with some other minor characters as well. They were trying to give too many characters too much screen time. And I think it just didn't work. Because I agree. Do you guys think The Hobbit could have been told in 2 movies? I don't think it needed to be told in 3 films. Do you think it could have been told in 2 movies?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think they could have got it down in 2 films if they had not put emphasis on some characters that they needed not put emphasis on as a final brought out. Just like with Bard, they really spent a lot of extra time on Bard and I don't think, and his family, and I just don't think all that was really necessary. I don't think, yeah, he had his moments, but you give him his moment and then you move on. Because the main part of the Battle of the Five Armies are the dwarfs and elves. They're about to go to blows with each other, but then the orcs come in and catch them by surprise, like a surprise attack, and then they have to try to unite to fight the orcs. And that should have been your focus. Because in the movie, yeah, the elves were ready to come for the dwarves, but that's when the orcs and their other armies make a surprise attack. And they're outnumbered, which is why Thranduil lost a lot of his elven people because of the surprise attack that they did not plan. You know, that's when you needed the eagles to come in and to help in this great battle. That eventually is supposed to get you prepared for the Lord of the Rings. But I'm trying to think. But I would say of the 3 films, despite the issues with it, Destiny of the Smog is probably the best one out of the 3. Battle of the Five Armies is sort of a disappointment. I think it just lost steam when it got to that point. And one reason is because I do think emphasis on too many characters and just not getting right into it. If they got right into it, it would have been pretty good. You know, And if I could say, I don't know if we're ending this, but I'll end on this note because I know Wolf has very much passionately expressed his feelings about Legolas. If I were to do a streaming show based on a Tolkien, those two characters would be my show. I would base a show on Thranduil, his life, and raising Legolas as a single father and turning him into this warrior of the Fellowship that he eventually becomes. That would not that stupid of power, crappy of power that is on Amazon. That's
Power.
yes, crapo of power, stupid. That is that thing on Amazon. But I
What, the
personally,
crapping of power?
yes, that's you crapo, crapping, stupid, dumb, wokified of power, fake of power. That thing is on Amazon. That please do not watch. I beg you, if you want to save your soul,
Which for some reason a lot of
and not have your
the
brain
writers
melt
the
together.
people for some reason the people involved in Amazon that tried to make the show because someone thought, hey, you want to know what the Silmarillion reminds me of? Game of Thrones. So let's do that. Oh wait, we can't get the rights to Game of Thrones. Let's just make some shit up somewhere during the Second Age of Middle Earth. Let's make Galadriel a warrior princess and Elrond. Yeah, let's switch the roles with Elrond and Galadriel, and apparently for whatever reason have a romantic subplot with Galadriel and some guy who turns out to be Sauron,
Yeah, they
and
made
just create
Sauron
a
look like a
new
bottom in the Reigns of Power. I'm sorry.
and for some reason
Child of
make a
flower.
new character in the show who's supposed to be an allegory for apparently for Donald Trump because the leftists fucking hate him.
I did too, Child of Flower. I've heard rumors about Red Armitage too, and like, oh, double blow. Come
Even if they
on.
but if they were to do a show adaptation of the Silmarillion, it would actually make for a great show, and plus it would also be great for knowing the origins of Sauron even though because it's the origins of Middle Earth, right?
Look,
Yes,
god
yes.
damn it. Sorry, my Pacelli. We is not fit to be talking about that trash tonight.
We're not. We're just saying if you wanted to do something to spin this off, the Silmarillion is what people thought we were getting, and you could definitely do that because that is the
Eh,
beginnings
But y'all
of
wanna know who my
Earth.
favorite dwarf was in this third movie?
Who?
Go right ahead.
Motherfucking Dwayne.
Which one was that again?
I think it was Thorin's uncle.
Oh, yeah.
Dane
He's
Ironfoot.
pretty.
Hey! Let out those 20
Oh, I knew
Willies!
you would like him.
Doing another thing. Well, they did this before the sequel, another thing I try my best not to resurrect. The Star Wars sequels did. Showing advanced technology that will never get used. Like those earthworms and those quote unquote twirly whirlies that have been really helpful during the Battle of, say, Helm's Deep, or say
Oh
Minas
God,
Tirith.
yes,
I mean,
Minister.
they did a big damage
Well, they
on
would have
groups of
been very handy
soldiers.
at that time. Yes.
I'm sure they would have took down some of those siege towers at Minas Tirith. As cool as those things was like, I was like, what the fuck? Really? Could have used those in Lair Wars in
Mhm.
Lord of the Rings. Oh wait.
They're only
Oh
in the
wait.
Hobbit.
Dane died years later, I think.
Yes, I thought you knew that.
But those earthworms sure as hell would have fucked everybody over. Which leads me to my next thing about Azog. And why I say Azog was a big disappointment.
I'm sure they.
was seriously the fact was the was way in the first act of Battle
Wasn't
of
he a
the Armies.
CGI?
I didn't care about him being CGI. That was the whole deal about him was
Okay.
they were trying to go big with the CGI with facial expressions, emotions, movements. He was a fully CGI character, motion captured, of course. So I had no problem about him. Story wise and conceptual wise, he was wasted potential because, like I said, he should have been. Sauron was never hurt was not that heard of that much during the period of yeah, this was long after the war. Ah, this is long after Isildur and and him falling. So Sauron was asleep in a way.
Mm.
Hmm.
I'm just saying,
Yeah,
like
because he was yeah, because he was still planning on trying to take bend Middle Earth to his will by creating the rings.
well, he wasn't a large lidless eye wreathed in flame yet, but he was in the form of a necromancer. But that's what destroys Azog as a concept and as a credible character. I didn't say he was not a threat. What I am saying is he was not a credible character. What was driving him? Oh, it was Sauron. Oh, okay. So we do not go for an idealized orc of his prime that was leading his band of orcs to just fuck shit up for the fuck of it. You know? I was hoping if that was the case. Like he was just
Mm-hmm.
having fun just ravaging Middle Earth,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
'Cause I mean, yeah, because the orcs were created by the corruption of the elves by Melkor, and that's why they were driven by evil and whatnot.
See with
But they were not
Melkor,
under his command.
but the thing is Melkor and Sauron, they give them purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I want a near purposeless orc running around the kingdom, the lands of Middle Earth. That's what I wanted. Kind of like Sean Yu a bit with the Huns. If they didn't really have a stated goal as to why they're ravaging the land, they
Mm-hmm.
were just pure dangerous, and there were so many that you would not find reason as to why they're fucking shit up. You would cease to try to ask questions that or cannot be bothered to answer. Y'all catch that reference one day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna tell you. I'll let that bake in your noodles. Where that reference come from? Final knows.
Say that reference again.
I
Oh, you'll
said
get it.
you. I said you will never. You will cease to dare to ask questions to which or cannot be bothered to answer.
Let me guess, X-Men.
Nope.
No,
It's
because I thought
beyond.
Charles, because I thought Charles and Eric asked something of that question in the first movie.
No, it's why do you ask questions to which you already know the answers to? No, this is something else.
Oh,
I'm paraphrasing, but it's from something. I know the answer to it. I'm not gonna tell y'all though.
It'll come to me. I can't think right now. It'll come to
And
me.
it goes beyond what you guys probably are interested in. I'll tell you guys in private. But that's what I was hoping that there would be without Sauron or Melkor's presence, which is they're just chaos incarnate. The Gundabad orcs were just these ravaged and vile creatures that were wiped out to extinction. Then we got Sauron's forces and later I, Isengard's forces, the Urkai, you know.
mm-hmm.
And that's another thing that bugs me about the
Yes.
Hobbit itself when it comes down to the mismanaging of continuity, or not necessarily continuity, but the mismanaging of this looks different. Therefore, why do we get these kind of things later on in the original trilogy. And when you look at the orcs of the Hobbit comparison to the orcs of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, of course, yes, you could say, oh, they're better because they're practical. Yes, they are. They're regular size and small size and human size, right?
Mm-hmm.
These motherfuckers are so fucking hulky and round face and shit. And I was, like I said, I was hoping they were gonna do something different with these kind of orcs to the point where, yeah, they had to be dealt with. So somebody had to do something and like just kill them with extreme impunity, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as a character, it's like they talk they talk a good game about him, but ultimately he's just a pawn. You know, he was already doing his thing until Sauron calls him up and say, "Hey, get this and take this guy out." It's like, okay, cool. Even like the moment when in Destiny of
Okay.
Small, you could tell Azog wants to do his thing, but like the moment the Necromancer speaks to him, he just vehemently just says, "Cool, but I'm gonna send my son to carry out me killing Thorin Oakenshield." Because that's what he wanted, revenge for his disability.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And I was going for that. I was writing that until
Yes.
somebody told him to go a different direction. I was like, okay, let's see what happens next movie. And it's funny because the trailer puts him in the river the river spot where he pops up again, but he never shows up. That was made for the trailer, of course, which is hilarious.
Hmm.
But like I said, once
Did
he
you
shows up
like
at Battle,
did you like in Battle Doc? Go ahead.
huh? What? You kind of cracked a little bit, Leia.
No, finish. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead and finish. I was going to ask you, did you like the Oh, did I? Can you is it do I sound fine now?
You sound
You're clear
clear.
now.
No, my thing was when he popped up in the Battle of the Five Armies, I'm like, oh, now he's a threat. Now we gotta remember
Okay.
he's a credible threat.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be, oh, it's gotta be paced out like the book, even though the entire trilogy mirrors specific events of Lord of the Rings.
Or like, as you mentioned about Thranduil being a jackass towards Bar himself because he had ulterior motives, you had this whole little political strife happening until he showed up and then you say, oh, he's in this movie. I nearly forgot. So yeah,
Is.
bottom line, Azog
Yes,
is a,
but
is a
yeah, you got the
Azog was a missed opportunity and major disappointment. Just like that fight with the five armies. Everyone was. Why didn't Emperor Penguin's assessment on
yeah.
the
Even
Battle
when
of the Five
throwing
Armies? That
fight
shit
at
was. Oh my goodness. Go ahead, Leia.
I was going to ask, did you like the Dark Galandria when she had to take on the Necromancer?
Yeah, I was about
Did
to
you
get to
like
that
Dark
too.
Galandria when
Oh
she had to
my
summon her
goodness.
dark powers to take on
That's
the
why I said he
Necromancer?
ruined her. That's why I said he ruined her right there. That's what like we were saying our praises.
Really? I thought it showed just how powerful she is.
No, I hate that shit. That fucking ruined her.
Okay. Okay. No, it's okay.
You
It's
took
okay to
Oh,
be honest, brother.
just like
I
just
thought
like
you
the
were talking.
shout just like the shout thing Gandalf does in the dining room scene. Sure. Something that really showcases how powerful these characters is. In the case of Gandalf, they turn it as a temper tantrum.
Mm,
In the case of Galadriel, it's like nobody is questioning one of the high elves going dark in order to send the Dark Lord somewhere else. Y'all not gonna put no watch on her. Nada. Not even you, Saruman. Not even you. And Elf himself, Elrond of Rivendell.
Yeah, because
But
that was actually supposed to be the moments with five wizards, because they were only mentioned because we know Gandalf and Saruman, and we now know Radagast the Brown thanks to this movie, this trilogy, but we don't know the other two as they are not mentioned in here, because they're never seen.
But her going dark and doing that creepy yell, I was
not.
cracking up laughing. I was cracking up laughing
And
when she had
really,
that.
the others would be questioning more with Saruman, because he looks at the necromancer, which is Saruman, and it's supposed to be foreshadowing because he would give up reasoning for madness and serving Sauron, and then he gives him another tower at Isengard.
Hmm.
Like I said, her going dark like that just defeats the whole reveal to her to her dark self to Frodo.
And one more thing
Remember
I
the
forgot
impact
to.
of that scene. Remember that
Yeah,
impact of that scene. Go ahead, final.
yeah. But yeah, I forgot to mention one part. One more thing about the two characters. You replace you got two new characters in here, and yet you're not gonna put them in with Thingol and Melian. They're the two characters from the Wood Elves from the Silmarillion
Hmm.
that they do show up in The Hobbit, and once again they play a minor role, but they don't show up in here in in this trilogy. The story and how it plays out in the Silmarillion is similar to Arwen's romance with Aragorn, where she gives up her immortality for another immortality, just to be with another man, which is her children, in that of her
Hmm.
children. And we do see them again at a certain moment in the book on their journey to the Misty Mountains. So then
So,
we're not going to see them and say you give us two new characters who are not even supposed to be in there at all.
so in closing, the whole Hobbit trilogy, to
Very
sum up,
true.
starting with you, Leia, sum up the whole trilogy.
Good, not classic as the Lord of the Rings trilogy. That is gold. This one has moments, but in all, kind of a disappointment.
Humble.
But not terrible. I'll take it over,
It's a good
Woke
movie
of
flip
Power any
movie.
day. I would tell people you'd rather watch these than that.
Leia.
We're not talking about the toilet throne of power. We're talking about The Hobbit.
No, repeat what you said, Humble.
We are not talking about the
No,
toilet
no,
throne of
earlier,
power.
earlier.
Oh, it's it's a good movie if you just wanted to see something and enjoy it.
I'm talking about the whole trilogy.
Oh, the whole trilogy?
Yeah,
Uh, it's a good movie for a movie flick.
just
I mean,
you
I
still
like it.
label one movie.
Oh,
I thought the trilogy as a
the
whole.
trilogy as a whole, a lot of character bloat because it
Hmm.
decided to give everything a backstory. Like, here's this rock. What's the backstory of this rock? Here's
Oh
this tree. What's the
boy.
backstory of this tree? It got hit by a dwarf and split open by an elf. Okay. And where's the plot? What plot? So yeah,
That's
it
really what
gets
everyone
lost in
would
few
say with
things, but
Tolkien
it
in a
does at
nutshell
least
for
keep to
you.
the lore, I think.
All right, final. The whole trilogy as a whole.
It has its moments, but yeah, the series, even going by the extended cut, is horrifically long. You're better off reading the book.
I've yet to read the book. As far as the trilogy itself, my wife liked them.
Okay, fair enough. Is that the worst thing
She
at all.
enjoyed her. She enjoyed herself
It's
until
just
we
a
got to the
step
third movie.
down.
Until we got to the third movie, I was like, and already. Especially when it got to when it got to Thorn versus Azog, I was like, and already. Yes, when it got to that, that's why I shot the screen. And already.
Yeah, because it drags on for so long. Yeah, you're better off reading the book. Or actually listen to the audiobook. Listen, that's actually narrated by Andy Serkis. It's actually really good.
I'm like, I've never came across a battle that made me shout at a movie. End already. Jesus Christ. Like Peter Jackson, you fell off when it came down to fights. Like Jesus Christ. I had my criticism of Lurtz versus Aragorn, but at least that shit was short. I will say that. At least that shit was short. Imagine if the fight between Lurtz and Aragorn was the same as Thorin versus Azog. And that's like the very end of freaking the Fellowship. Y'all feel me?
Mhm.
Y'all wouldn't be singing y'all praises on that shit to this
Yes.
day, would you, if it dragged on that long?
No.
Like Lurtz is strong, but he ain't indestructible. He don't survive. He don't stay underneath a icy ocean or icy waterfall and then bust through sheets of fucking ice and just keep prolonging the fight. It's like as soon as that motherfucker sunk into the ice, I was like, that's it. He's done. He's done, right? Motherfucker burst. I'm like, oh shit. Okay. See how this play out. Oh right, because Thorin has to die. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, he died
Everybody
a
was
completely different death in this movie than in comparison to the book.
everybody was all gasping and shit. I was like, I was rolling my eyes. I'm like, completely avoidable death right here. But anyways, like thank everybody for
Yeah, I
being
didn't
here.
gasp either. I'm like, okay, yeah.
Those for you and those nonsense motherfuckers keep popping in and out. Thank you everybody for indulging us while we have our moments of appreciating glass drill. Glass glass drill. No, no. Ass drill. Sorry, I'm tired. I can't think of
Oh,
any better
goodness.
puns. I had a definitely strenuous work
It's
today.
in your.
Were you trying to say Gladastriel?
I'm just trying to put ass to drill or ledrill because that woman had a whole
He
lot of
can't help
ass in that
himself.
one scene.
That scene has messed him totally up.
It did.
Oh God.
Peter Jackson, what was you thinking? I mean, I
He was
appreciate it.
thinking of cake.
Nah, yep. He was bigger cake because he was apologizing for what he did with these movies. He was apologizing in advance with that advanced ass. Anyways, this has been the humblest writer, Tomo Marty.
Hello. Don't forget, my book, Thankful Applause, is on Royal Road. And that's basically where you get to look it up. And if you can't find it, there are tons of other stuff there to look up on that thing. Like Raltz's Behold Humanity series is also on there, the Reddit
Oh, really?
edition. So there is that. And I think Fiona Wolf also does she also put some of her stuff on there too.
Good to know.
Mhm.
The Warrior of Light Final Fantasy Fan 12.
Well, that about does it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you saw, click like and subscribe and share with your family and friends. And make sure you ring that notification bell, that way you get notified of our latest videos. Go subscribe to Wolf 10 Media if you haven't already. Go subscribe to me if you haven't already. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Final Fantasy Fan 12 signing off, and remember, may the light forever shine upon us.
The lay of our lay up size.
Good evening, everyone. This is Leia Plus Size, your lovely lady of valor, and thank you so much for joining us in this very colorful and passionate discussion of the Hobbit trilogy. If you have any suggestions of other movie trilogies that you would like for us to discuss, please leave it in the comments below. I am very sure Wolf will very much appreciate it. Until we see you next time, I hope everyone has a safe holiday and enjoy yourself. And everybody take care till we see you again.
I just like how Neostar is just now quoting Marie Antoinette with saying, "Let us eat cake." Or no, right. Oh, wait, no. Oh, wait, no, she said, "Let them eat cake," not "let's eat cake."
Oh, my
Never mind.
God. Yeah, it's just
This
Wolf
has been
and
your
me.
Wolf Commander Woltan. Remind you guys once again that I don't really know how to close this one off, but all the same, you are the UN Spacey. Welcome to the Wolf Fleet. I guess I'll end it with this.